manpower, especially not in the large industry who can bulldoze their way into getting it implemented. But look at what happens to such initiatives in small industry. Small industry has, as I would normally say, a guy who comes to them on their doorstep, no skill, no training, he's looking for employment. So I call this guy the guy with 2 feet, a body, 2 hands, a shoulder, and a coconut over it. And you know what, we in the years to come, depends upon how long he lasts with us, but his aspirations are learn and move on. So we train this guy with a coconut on his head, and just imagine using the latest technology on one hand and a coconut on the other hand. Believe me, it's a difficult proposition, but SMEs are doing what they need to. And it has been acclaimed. In fact, our global initiative that we ran for Germans to come and look at Indian industries, participate, handhold, transfer technology, look for joint ventures, contract manufacturing, whatever it might be. But let me tell you, this initiative of technology in SMEs in Pune, in and around Pune, is going to get our industry to a platform or to a level where they're going to be accepted by global players. Do join in, make all efforts to implement, and as I have a target, 100 weeks, 100 collaborations for small industry. So that is what we are going to do. In the first, since I took over, which is maybe about 6 weeks from now, we already have 5 who are in line. They are paying a huge amount of money to interact with the Germans, and they come to our doorstep. They will be looking for a lot of initiatives. But if you do not drive your enterprise embedded with modern technology, believe me, they will not come. So all the best to all of you. Please ensure that whatever you take away from this program today, you use it back home, get things done at your end, be ready for global competition, and the future is bright. So all the best to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you. Time for felicitations. So let me hand over to the KWT team and Gopinath sir to take over. Let me reverse the order. Mr. Deshpande, Ashish Deshpande, to accept felicitations from the Kohinoor Group. Okay, maybe you can all go up. Mr. Ashish Deshpande, the CTO of Badwe Engineering. Anirudh, Mr. Anirudh Pant, please. CEO and founder of Algo Analytics, please. Mr. Aditya Paranspe. Yeah. Mr. Prashant Pansare, the CMD and founder of Intellement as well as Rubyscape. Thank you so much. Thank you, sir. Please take your seats. We will flip the sequence a bit. We'll request Mr. Ashish Deshpande, the CTO of Badway Engineering, to make a presentation because he has to leave for Bangalore by a flight in a little while. So over to you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, good evening and thanks for the patience because it's almost 6 o'clock and this time I hope we go to home, but you are staying here. So let me not take much of your time. So we are a tier 1 supplier for the automotive, we are an automotive company. I am Ashish, which we will talk, I will go through the manufacturing excellences that we have put using the technologies that Karandikar sir mentioned. So we are having 30 plus manufacturing facilities. We produce the sheet metals and we also work on the injection molding. We are 34-year-old company. I think you may be knowing most of this group here, the Badway group. We are 5,000 plus crore company. So before I get into the manufacturing facilities and excellence, I will just take this opportunity to show you what we produce. So we work on chassis, frames. We recently, apart from these mirrors and exhaust systems, we also started working on electric vehicle components, and also we are venturing into ADAS and ARAS. So these are the say new two elements that we have added as an expansion of the group and the diversification of the group. So coming back to manufacturing, we are a 185-acre built-up area, and we have a very wide 310 acres of space. We are presence of 7 states because, you know, in India, wherever the OEMs are there, we need to be closer to them. That serves both purposes for customer as well as for us. So we have a wide presence, and these are how the 30 plants are distributed across India. And we are thinking for the motor and the other, the EV parts to build in within Maharashtra. So coming back to the technology part, this is where we focus more. So we are early adopters of SCADA and IoT in our plants, and that help us to grow exponentially. If you see the growth, it's really amazing journey here. The 34 years that whatever Mr. Badwe put together, they adopted this technology continuously. That is how the growth also wins the customer here. So the lot of robotic manufacturing, RFID deployment, the RMS part, the remote monitoring systems that we have put together. And as you know, energy is the critical element. So energy optimization through, say, this active PFC, power factor control, by using IoT that we have deployed. And we have added many customers, not only in India, but also abroad. Across the globe, we have customers. So coming back to the metal processing facilities that we have. So we have now, this slide is a little bit old, but we have 500 plus bots to weld. We have a fully digital control pulse welding, which saves, it helps us to increase the productivity. We have a lot of places we have this computer-based inspection. So we are using this technology for various the welding defect detections and inspections. We have automated part so we are using many sensors here. So as the sensor technology is progressing, we are trying to adopt those, and the key thing is how we deploy those sensors. The application of sensor technology and the problem definition, if we can match that, then we can really adopt this. So the technology that we are highly relying is on the sensors and of course the software. And then we have these are 100 miles per welding per day is possible only with these kind of technologies that we adopt. We have progressive stampings, we have 5-axis tube bending, sophisticated tube bending machines. We have a 3D scanning to check the bending accuracies. And those are also helping us to reduce the defects and winning the customer. So these are some of our facilities. This is like a robotic welding frame machine which is fully automated. So these are all automated processes. So we are, this group is adopting this energy optimization since long year back. Like it's VFD, right sizing of motors, and this is, I think it's a DNA of the company now. The multi-model sub-assembly, this is another area where we are also trying to do this in EVs, because EVs are scalable and modular in nature. And we are also trying to do this for even our ADAS platform and ARAS platforms that we have. So we do this automation of many gauges that we have. This is called pre-delivery inspection. This is one of the example that we have put IoT in our plant. So wherever we see many parameters and there is a lot of dependence on each other, it becomes a complex function to handle and optimize. So we have identified few areas. In the morning session, there was a comment that we had to deploy these industry 4 is a critical decision, because we cannot put this across the industry. We have to, especially when we have the existing plants running. So we monitor this. It's a real-time systems. We get this real-time information. So this is for the surface treatment, because this is very important, one of the important function in the manufacturing sector. So, and then the operator skill we have taken out, the supervisor skill we have taken out, and we are monitoring this through the so-called narrow AI, what we call. It's a kind of a edge AI that we have put here. The next step for this is we have tremendous data now, because we have put many sensors, temperature, pressure, then sound and all those data we are capturing now. Our next step is to get into the analytics of it, taking the decision based on it. So data driven decision, that is what we are trying to now deploy. Then we have these RFID deployments. I think this is I think 10 years back or 6 years back, this is what we have deployed. And these like, there are small mistakes that we can avoid, like this gauge is scanned first on the RFID. I hope you can see my cursor, yeah. So this gauge is scanned on the RFID, and then it is used whether it is really, because there are multiple parts, you know, the challenge is when you have multiple parameters or multiple parts in the plant, and they look like, I mean, they look alike, similar, then it's difficult to, you know, use manual, say, processes. Then we have polymer processing. So this is our injection molding facility where we again use similar kind of, now here we have multiple combinations. I mean, here now color plays the role, yeah. There are many, 3-4 colors. The shapes, there are multiple variants of the bikes and the battery. So these handling these multiple variants on the production line is it's really challenging on the when it's manual to manage. So we have put a lot of the elements of camera-based identification. So we take the photo, we match the photo. It's kind of a CV type of work, the computer vision type of work that we do. And this will enable us to take decision. I mean, the camera-based system itself will tell us whether it's a go or no go on the line. So we have many machines on the polymer side to handle various chemistries and the shapes. So this is another example of how we handle. You see, again, this is a classic example where we have many parameters to manage. So we have temperatures, we have pressures, and these play a very critical role in molding because that quality matters a lot. And when we want to decide about the tolerances that we have to put on these the elements, the pressure and the temperature, it becomes very challenging to manually set this. So we did a lot of the data analytics part of it. And from the data analytics, we can find out, I mean, how we use this data analytics, and the applications can be numerous. I mean, it's not just just for the decision making, even for tolerances or those kind of studies also can be done using these. Then we are now venturing, as I mentioned, into the EV sector. So we have tied up with the motor manufacturer from Israeli. And we are going to set up this plant soon. We are going to handle, again, a lot of complexity here. There is a lot of manufacturing related challenges. The geometries are not so easy to handle. So this is something which we are working now. Maybe when we meet next time, I can show you something on that. But this is which we are venturing. We do a lot of contract manufacturing for the electric vehicles and subsystems. So we have these L2, L3, L5 categories and even two-wheelers that we have. And we are going to do, soon we will be getting into one interesting big contract or collaboration for the EV contract manufacturing. These are all white labeled EVs that we manufacture, and our manufacturing excellence is bringing us all these customers to us, and that's how we are winning these new segment as well. And just a few more slides I have is the awards that we have received for the TPM that we have deployed. So numerous awards, and Mr. Shrikant Badwe, who is our owner and MD, he is already the brand ambassador for two missions, that is Make in India and Magnetic Maharashtra. So under his leadership, we are able to take up the new challenges. So we are venturing. So if you have anything in these segments, we are looking for partnerships or collaborations, like say laser welding for say battery module manufacturing. We are venturing into the hardware PCBA kind of development. So we will not assemble the PCB, but the SMT's partners we are looking. We are looking for some predictive function development, ML based, the EV component manufacturing know-how. If you have, we can definitely collaborate. Remote monitoring system, rapid proto development, there is 3D and increasing the solar. These are all say increments or expansions that we want to do. And ADAS and ARAS are our own IP we have. We have huge scope there to collaborate. We are having a lot of deployments on the mine trucks right now, and also a lot of fleets that we have from the buses, and so those lot of data generation is being happening. We have I don't have slide on these ADAS, but on the ADAS we have collision monitoring system, collision avoidance system, driver monitoring system. So these 4 or 5 products we already are there in the market. These are some are AI based, some are more on the non-AI platform. So we are trying to get into the AI platform. So any partnerships or opportunities we are looking in these areas. And that's it from my side. Thank you so much for your patience.
Slight bit of interruption in the sequence flow of events, since one or two other speakers would go in between. I'd request for a group photograph. Normally we do it at the end, but if you could please join in the front of the table, that he can. Apologies for this small bit of change, but sometimes, the times are busy, the CEOs are traveling, which means a lot of business for us, which is good. Thank you so much for the understanding. Let me now request Mr. Aditya Paranspe, who chairs our electronics committee and who is also the CEO of CloudQ, to make his presentation. Over to you, Aditya.
Good evening, everyone. Digitization specifically for manufacturing is quite a vast topic, and it gets a little difficult to do justice to this topic in 10 to 15 minutes, and that too at the fag end of the day. But what I've tried to do through this presentation is to give everyone a little bit of a flavor about what is it that we are talking about when we are talking about Industry 4, about smart factories, about IoT, so there are so many terms, and it gets pretty confusing. It gets pretty overwhelming at times, to really make sense of, what's out there. Is this technology really for me? Is it going to be very expensive? am I going to get benefits if I adopt this, emerging technology? So, there's a lot of confusion, and when we have conversations with our clients, there are some questions that they typically ask us. So, I've tried to, put those questions here as part of this presentation deck. And also, I have planned to cover a few case studies that'll give you some idea about, what is it that typically customers are doing, what are some of the benefits that have accrued to customers by adopting some of these technologies that are available. Let me start with defining what do we mean by Industry 4.0. Those of you who have been to sessions similar to this would have seen this slide before in terms of, what do we mean by Industry 4.0 and the overall progression. So it started off with Industry 1, which is nothing but the industrial revolution, where steam engine was used to, do some sort of industrialization. It moved to, your classic assembly line with, the automotive sector to be the first sector to adopt mass manufacturing. That is a period of Industry 2, which was the beginning, or I would say middle of the last century. Then we moved on to what is called Industry 3 and then Industry 4. And there are oftentimes confusions that people have between Industry 3. What is the difference between Industry 3 and Industry 4? Because if you look at the definition, there is a lot of automation that had happened in Industry 3 itself. I mean, we have been talking about SCADA systems, we have been talking about PLCs, for almost 30 years now. So then what is the difference? I mean, when I'm implementing an automation project, am I upgrading myself to an Industry 4 level or is it Industry 3? So there are big differences between Industry 3 and Industry 4. When we talk about automation, we are talking about automating a particular process. The data that is getting generated in that process is limited to the process itself or is limited to the factory. When I move that data to a global level, that means I connect that data which is getting generated in a local manufacturing process, when I connect it to a cloud, and I then make sense of that data to improve a business process that need not necessarily be related to that particular manufacturing process, that's when I say that I am, moving to an Industry 4 mechanism. So that's why when we talk about Industry 3, we talk about, automation, we talk about drives, we talk about PLCs, we talk about SCADA. And when we talk about Industry 4, we start talking about industrial Internet of Things, we start talking about cloud, we start talking about security, we start talking about networks. So that is the difference. So when I'm doing an automation project, that doesn't mean that I'm actually, upgrading my manufacturing location from an Industry 3 to Industry 4. So there is a big difference. So one is the data generated, where is it being used? Am I really leveraging the power of cloud, really leveraging the power of industrial IoT? These are some of the questions that, one needs to ask. So that is the, what is the Industry 4.0 part of it. There is also another difference in terms of the way we view organizations, in the conventional method and the Industry 4.0 method. I will give credit to Gartner for this particular slide. I mean, we have taken, we work extensively with them and this is their visualization. So when our conventional way of looking at any organization is through this sort of a value chain, wherein you have a factory, which could be a smart factory in terms of the processes. Then you have certain IT systems that are there. You'll have your ERP, CRM, enterprise asset management, and then you'll have certain business objectives that will be run, So that is how a conventional organization is visualized. When we move that to an Industry 4 way of looking at it, the boundaries that exist today get completely eliminated. That means data flow can seamlessly happen from the shop floor to your customer. It could happen directly to your supplier. That data which is getting generated at, let's say, a manufacturing location can be used for improving your sales. So, the boundaries that exist in the conventional systems get totally eliminated when we talk about Industry 4. People are absolutely at the center of the Industry 4, and people could be your employees, it could be your suppliers, it could be your customers. And all the processes, the technology, the systems, the strategic imperatives are around that. So if you can see, you move from a value chain boundary to something which is completely seamless. It's a big change. It is not just simply implementing, an IoT system or simply implementing energy management, doing things bits and pieces. It's a big change and it's a cultural change, a mindset change that needs to happen for you to really go from A to B. So that was addressing the what part. Now this is a very interesting take on the why part. I mean, why should I go in for this investment? Why should I go in for digitization? I mean, this is a question that you will often ask yourself. So we have tried to relate that to a fundamental management concept, which talks about in any industry, the companies that implement the best practices that are available in that industry reach what is called a productivity frontier. At this point, there is going to be a trade-off between when I want to improve my quality further or I want to reduce my cost. So if I have to improve, I have to add features, it's just impossible to do that without further increasing the cost. Digitization is one tool which allows you to do that for a little more distance. That means I can add features to my product, I can improve the quality of my product, at the same time reduce the cost of the product. Okay, so that is the management mantra behind an Industry 4, behind the digitization initiatives that a lot of companies, embark upon. Ki, hey, I have, this customer, I want to give him a differentiated offering. I am already one of the best in the industry. Can I do something more? When you ask yourself that question, this is when digital tools, can be used, can be leveraged. Now, this is a double-edged sword as well, because most of the companies are nowhere near the productivity frontier. Okay, so you might take certain incremental steps, you might be able to do something and you will be able to notice that there is an improvement in productivity, there is an improvement in quality, and there is a reduction in cost as well. So, you will be able to see that, but for digital tools to be really effective, your groundwork, basic foundation should be in place. That is a caveat. A lot of our customers come to us asking, with a problem statement, that can be very easily solved by certain non-digital interventions. So, we always recommend to them that, okay, there are simpler, very easy to implement tools available. Why not try those out first before going on to your digital journey? So, that is the other aspect also that we need to be sensitive about. So, that is, to put into perspective certain aspects of digitization, certain imperatives that come along with it. Coming to certain, so we have talked about what is digitization, what are some of the benefits, why do we need to use it. I will take you through a few case studies that we have done around this space, which have greatly benefited the client who has implemented this, and these are relatively, in our opinion, relatable, scalable. That it's something that if you try in your factory, you will be able to get interesting results. The first is the smarter products. I am an OEM, I am making a particular product, okay? Can I make that smarter by connecting that to the internet? So today I am a genset manufacturer or I am a compressor manufacturer. I have been doing this for, ages. I have no insight today as to what is the way in which that machine is actually being used by the customer. There is a perception today that, I'll take the example of gensets. There is a perception today that, the power situation has improved. So gensets are not run at all. Okay, so then what is the point of installing this? You will be surprised to know that this is completely contrary to the common perception. Gensets even today, if you look at remote monitoring data, are extensively being used. The segments in which they have been used have changed. Now, me as a genset manufacturer, if that data is available with me, can I not use that to right size that genset? Can I not use that data to do marketing campaigns in those geographies? Can I not enable my customer with that data so that he's able to manage that genset better? All these things open up the moment I start capturing that information. Can I not build better products going forward? If I find my user is on an average using a, maximum load is at 40 kVA. Currently, I am I'm offering him a genset of 62.5 kVA. Can I not reduce it to 50 kVA? Would that be an interesting price point? So all these actions, all these decisions come up the moment you start looking at that data, start monitoring it, and then find out a mechanism of monetizing it. So this was something that we did in the two-wheeler, three-wheeler EV space. The market is saturated, it is highly competitive. This particular OEM wanted to create a differentiator. That means, convert his product into a smarter product so that a lot of the fleet customers are able to manage that seamlessly. So then they went in for, migrating their product from a standard product to a smart product, enabled their customers with mobile apps, with web applications. That not only caused an increase in their market share because it was a customer delight point, But they started getting, as I mentioned, when I gave the genset example, getting a lot of information that helped them improve their two-wheeler, three-wheeler offering and were able to launch much better newer products. So it is a very simple example how you can make use of the data to further improve your product or service offering. The next case is on digital factory. So this is again a very relatable, you have processes within your factories, you have machines, why not get those machines connected to the internet and then, use that data to build meaningful insights, find out areas where you are able to reduce costs, identify the bottleneck processes, create an entire workflow around that. So there are so many solutions which are available in the market, very robust solutions, some solutions from the OEMs, some solutions from, third-party integrators. So today, if you have a requirement, I'm sure there are, extremely good solutions available which can be fairly easily deployed, not only for new machines, but also for legacy and older machines. So the challenge that was there 3 to 4 years ago that finding a good, implementation partner was becoming difficult, that problem is not there today. The price points have also dropped significantly. So, earlier when it used to cost a lot, I mean, the capex investment was very high. Today, that's not the case. There are, pay-as-you-go models also available. So a lot is happening in the digital factory space that, everyone can leverage. Paperless quality. I mean, this is one of the lowest hanging fruit that is available as far as digitization is, concerned. I still find there are so many large organizations which even today use things like root cards during the assembly line. I mean, what is done of those root cards after they have been filled is then they have people, who will manually fill that, create Excel sheets, generate some reports and, that's it. Simplest thing, you can have a basic Android application, enable your assembly line with tabs or even on their phones and digitize that. That's the first step. So paperless quality ensures that that data that is getting generated in the assembly line, first of all, is available to all. Second, you can maintain complete genealogy of the subcomponents that are getting into your manufacturing process as well. So the byproduct is you're able to, if there is a problem in the field, you're able to claim warranty for that part based on this linkage. Second is you're able to maintain FIFO, which is being practiced throughout the line. And it's as simple as enabling, your people on the assembly line with mobile apps. So extremely low cost, extremely easy to implement and, gives very good benefits. The other area which a lot of people have talked about is on the energy management space. Again, one of the very, very easy areas to implement. All of you will have panels, there'll be energy meters, there'll be APFC panels, get them connected to the internet. You will get time of the day, which load is consuming how much, actions for those loads. A lot of you will have budgets for energy saving initiatives. Then is the ROI of that being met? I mean, this is one basic thing that the energy management system can enable you to do. It can help you create a priority list of loads that you need to attack first. And very, very low cost, very, very easy to implement. So these are some things which are, in our opinion, are extremely low hanging, which as a starting point could be good initiatives to take. Will not be very complicated, which will be cloud enabled. So there is no question of, investing in larger infrastructure. So very straightforward. Finally, I would like to end with certain, very, very important critical success factors that are necessary to make sure that any digitization, task that you embark upon, these are some things which are universally applicable. That please try to articulate the problem statement well, so that the solution fits that problem statement perfectly. What tends to happen is that the problem statement is vaguely defined and midway through the implementation, the problem statement changes. And then you try to fix this same solution for two problems and it becomes, half-cooked to address both of them. So that is the first one. Second, there has to be management mandate available. So backing from the management becomes critical for any digitization process because it's a journey. It is not something that you can, get it done with and then, it is over. You need to have a competent internal team that appreciates the impact that the digitization initiative is going to do. Budgets need to be allocated. You need to identify strong implementation partners because they have to make sure that it is properly implemented, handed over, trainings happen. You need to, from day one, establish a mechanism of monitoring the ROI, which means identifying critical points of improvement, identifying ways in which those can be measured so that this becomes a successful deployment. Also, you pick it up at, let's say, at a one plant level. You need to have a visibility of how you're going to horizontally deploy that either within the plant or other plants which may be there within your manufacturing setup. And of course, the feedback loop, that means you have completed a particular project. There'll be tremendous amount of learnings. How do you make sure that those learnings get transferred to your next project so that you don't keep making the same mistakes, making, the same problems again and again. So these are certain things which are generically applicable. They will be applicable to any digital project that you embark. And, so a little bit of food for thought before I conclude. Thank you very much for your patient listening.
Let me now request Prashant Pansare sir to address the gathering, please.
थोड़ा सा लूज कनेक्ट है. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I think stage is already set for the topic, and since morning we are talking about digitization and Industry 4.0. We are also talking about the growth challenges and various aspects of digitization. And last few years, what we have seen is basically industry evolving from digitization to digitalization to now digital acceleration. And what this COVID lockdown has actually accelerated is the digital transformation agenda, the innovation and digital transformation agenda. And when we talk about this, data democratization is actually at the center of it. And when we talk about artificial intelligence or machine learning, that's not a rocket science, right? It is happening, and we are actually consuming these technologies in our everyday life. So what I intend to do in some time is just to give you some perspective that why it is essential, and not only for us as industry, but also for us as country. Now, if you look at some of these statistics, these are quite insightful. The data in India, if you look at, we are already the world's cheapest mobile internet economy with more than 1.2 billion people already using mobile internet and smartphones. In fact, just about last quarter, India has surpassed the non-English speaking population on the mobile internet. What it means is that when you are using a smartphone and you are not using English as your primary language on your mobile phone, right? You are using that as a regional language. So all Indian regional languages put together, Indian population has surpassed English speaking population within India, and that's quite significant. And this is what we mean by the localization of global technologies, and that is why Indian digital economy is actually growing very fast. And if you look at some of these statistics, they are actually revealing a lot of interesting opportunities that when we are talking about, say, for example, 8.3 GB of a data a month is the average consumption. For people who are staying in urban areas, even 2 GB data per SIM card is not sufficient, right, per day. Now look at that kind of, a data appetite and consumption. Now, very simple formula that if you're using technology, you're a consumer. If you're creating something for data monetization, you're going to make money, right? And what is happening is that when we are doing digitization, it may start from automation. It might start for, some of the business objectives, but most of the companies are today thinking, how can they monetize data? And that is also creating some very interesting opportunities. And these are, again, some of the key statistics that we are looking at. Enterprise today is actually leveraging only 4% of the data, and these are, a lot of international studies that are being done by the distinguished analysts community, which are validating that how much data is being generated and how much that being put to use, right? World has generated more data in last 18 months than it has produced in last 30 years. You can imagine the kind of data appetite, right? I mean, if maybe, the way we look at you is like an API. So if I look at him, that what is his data appetite, maybe, this smartphone, this build, this mobile plan, and so many, social interactions, so much of a banking, fintech interactions and all of that, right? So what is that per person's data appetite? India is actually rocking. If you look at fintech as an industry, the UPI payment gateway, we are setting up world records last 3 quarters consecutively, right? And when I was actually looking at statistics of this fintech industry in India, SBI, Kotak, ICICI, HDFC, all of their digital wallets are accounting to not even 2% of the total digital payment gateway. Even Amazon pays 0.6%, right? On number 3 is Paytm at 10%. Number 2 is Google Pay at 34%. And number 1 is PhonePe. 48% of 44 billion transactions, can you imagine that? And what is happening is you're going on Thelas, you're going to Kirana shops, you're going to, pan shop, you're doing your payment gateways. I mean, value-wise, it might be less, but volume-wise, it is huge. And who is dominating? PhonePe, an Indian digital payment gateway. Now, there is a story, right? How people are being able to ride on this wave and create their innovation and disruption. So when we are talking about that, what government also has set up, and if you go to data.gov.in, there are plethora of data sets that our government has made it publicly available for the startups or researchers, for innovators, right? And very good case study is that through Setu app, what we have done during the COVID times, wave 1 and wave 2, when we were battling to understand what is likely to happen in India with the COVID waves, we were dependent on Hopkins University and National University of Singapore. But within 3 months, what happened is that Setu application started throwing data sets on public domain, and then there were researchers, innovators, statisticians who actually started wrangling with the data and then started coming with insights and predictions. And then what happened? By wave 3, India started manufacturing vaccines. We started improving on our curtailing the COVID, and then by the wave 4, India actually emerged as probably the superpower in terms of battling and combating COVID. How did that happen? A very good, use of social data for good. And this is happening in every sector. So it's not only, within your company, corporate office or shop floor that you're looking at digitization and data, but understand that what is happening in, things and world around. So, if we are making any claims, they need to be validated with some of the statistics. And then, these are something coming from maybe a Grandview research and Gartner's that look at the data explosion, that what it is likely to happen. But let me draw your attention to the data economy part of it. The artificial industry is likely to be almost $1,108 billion by 2027 by Grandview research. And Asia Pacific alone is expected to be $228 billion. And the NASSCOM report actually confirms that India is likely to have $540 plus billion impact on digitization post-COVID by 2025. Now what this means is that digitalization means data is the new currency. And let me put things in a perspective. Yeah, when we are talking about this digitalization, understand this, AR, VR, blockchain, the 3D printing, these are not fancy terms. They are now and here and they're happening. But how they are changing, the way we are handling these technologies and why and how they are creating the need for these kind of innovative and disruptive business models. So look at, product as a service, data as a service, or quality as a service, predictive, preventive maintenance as a service. Things are changing. Now think in populated, crowded country like us, can I invent radiology as a service with portable X-ray machines? Right? If we can order food on Swiggy and Zomato, why not an X-ray for senior citizen in a crowded, populated country like us? Local, low-cost innovations that can change the way we are. Can we look at cultivation as a service with autonomous tractors? right? These are digitally powered business models, and they are no rocket science anymore, right? In fact, the tractor manufacturers are making their autonomous tractors in Pune. And look at, most of the developed countries, Uber business models are banned. In India, they're big hit, right? So why not then cultivation as a service by Uberizing tractor rather than you buying and maintaining individual tractors, just consume that as a service, right? Asset light, shared economy based business models. And that is becoming, a need of our. In the interest of time, I'm not going into each of these, but when we say that data is a power, the data is equal to artificial intelligence, and that has actually the strength. What's important is that if you look at this autonomous vehicle, they're not sitting on a sofa, they're sitting in a car and maybe driving to some destination. And when that autonomous vehicle is driving them, understand digitized products and digitized services and smart products are leading to new ways of business. Input, process, output has been replaced with input, machine learning, and outcome or impact. And that is why it is essential for us to go the digital way. And it is not only the products or the after-sales services, but it is the way in which you are making products, right? Look at your assembly lines, look at your robotics. Now, these are things which are changing in the way you are building products, right? So how can you do track and tracing? I mean, we talked about, some of those industrial IoT kind of things. They are now and here, but how are you being able to delve into it and making this in real sense, some wisdom out of it? So when we talk about, the innovation agenda, let's look at what is happening, for instance, in automotive sector, right? And this is a little busy diagram, but if you look at the sensory systems that are going into a smart car or a new age car, understand, you're putting a sensor into a tire, and then instead of selling it as a tire, as a product, you are selling safety rotations per mile, right? It is a little different approach of how you are providing digitized services. And then what you're doing is tracking, tracing, wear and tear of that. And then maybe if I'm a rash driver, 3-year warranty product, they're saying that within 24 months you replace that. And maybe if I'm a good driver, they're saying that 30 months warranty is over, but we are extending that by another year because wear and tear and the mileage of your tire has not been so much. Or maybe if I'm driving it, somebody's driving my car on speed, on highway, on a sunny day, I get an SMS alert, the tire is likely to burst in next 15 minutes because it is over speeding and it is at this location. Don't you think it is going to be, a better product for you to have? Now just imagine that these sensory systems are actually helping you in making your product smart, tracking, traceable, right? So then how are you going to be looking at this? A few years back, we had, people walking with 2 and 3 handsets. They were like Blackberries, right? So you will have a proprietary hardware and a proprietary messaging platform. Even today, that might be still a, best way for encrypted messaging. But then comes in WhatsApp, cross-messaging platform, and they disrupted. So the hardware has become a commodity. So one hardware and multiple applications, hundreds of applications that you're using. Now, when we are talking about these AI-driven OTT apps, it's actually the same logic. When you build a data platform, that becomes a commodity that actually becomes underneath, and then on top, what you're doing is only consuming these smart data apps that are helping you not only run and drive your business, but to become, or create a global impact. And that's why this, when we are talking about innovation agenda, why it is no longer a rocket science. What we are doing in this is that we have emerged as India's first unified data science and artificial intelligence technology product company. And we take pride that we are a made in India technology. We are made in Maharashtra, very much made in Pune. And these are some of the awards and accolades. We are a tech startup company, started about a couple of years back. And some of our anchor customers, we also partner with several IITs and engineering institutions in helping them in setting these AI and data science labs where we do co-innovation with our industry partners, our business partners, and that kind of an ecosystem. What is important is that when we talk in this context, that data science is not a rocket science. Because if you look at these, some of the areas, data engineering, data science, and visual intelligence, there are specialized tools. What we have done is that put all these softwares in one single source code. Like MS Office, you have Word, PowerPoint, Excel in one toolkit. We have not only put that into one commercial package, but it is one single seamless software that actually helps you in doing all your data pipeline management in one single software. So wherever is your data coming from, machine, device, sensors, applications, coming from location, image, text, speech, whatever is the source and type and a format of a data, we actually help you using only one software, building your vertical data applications on a platform. And this is, a toolkit which is also very powerfully connected with integrations and open source, and that help you in building the various use cases. So we recently won an innovation award by CII for a digital transformation agenda, where sales and operations planning, SNOP it is called popularly in the manufacturing space, is that how we have using, these tool sets build the apps. So, you have maybe an Android, like an operating system layer, then you have a marketplace, and then you have a OTT apps, right? What is important and what is engaging for the consumers is actually the OTT apps. And this is what are, the AI-driven OTT apps, and there are a number of them. Right? For instance, this one is predictive intelligence on forecasting on where it is likely to rain and flood, what cause it is, what damage it is expected to cause. Image processing for healthcare, when using artificial intelligence, you're assisting doctors in understanding that how much is the tumor spread, and you're building the scores related to it. This one is actually the vibration analysis of shop floor, how your machines are performing. This one is actually the video analytics, where you are doing the incident monitoring, reporting, and creating various different annotations, data annotations and labeling, so that while during the lockdown you are actually doing remote operations, the CCTV surveillance cameras, which are actually becoming your data input. Every building you have the CCTV cameras, but what are you doing with that data? So when you are wanting to leverage that kind of a data, this is video analytics, right? What you're doing is that just processing that video and then building machine learning models that can help you in monitoring, tracking, all of that. In the interest of time right now, I'm not going into too much of a details, but then there are some very important aspects for the manufacturing ecosystem, whether it is in public sector, defense, or even in manufacturing. This slide actually talks about that what is the actual partnership model. It is, we say data science is a team sport. It is not something that you can, play singularly. That how you can actually bring in the consulting firms, innovators, startups ecosystem, the software providers, who are actually, building applications for automation and things like that. And then how can you have, these app-driven agenda that is helping you in digitalizing and disrupting things in easier and a faster way. We also partner with a lot of institutions in helping them in setting up this at the campus, so that the co-innovation, maybe some of you are from public sector or manufacturing, there are half a dozen of labs we have already established in Pune or with some of the IITs. You can simply go there and leverage this in technology infrastructure to build innovative use cases, or you can actually go with the open data, public data to these center of excellences, which are academia-led research and innovation playgrounds for you. And then how can you pilot, prototype, your ideas and innovation, and see that how can you be ahead in the curve. In field of innovation, they say that innovate fast, fail early, fail cheap, right? That's the way we have actually created these kind of, data science playgrounds across various institutions, so that various industry or industry players and stakeholders can come together with this innovation agenda. In the interest of time, probably I'll skip some of these slides. Let me show you a very quick glimpse that when you are into a business application, this is like for a machine data acquisition, right? How many devices are registered, and how many are the most active devices. Maybe if I have to just go on add, some of the things which are my sensory system, what are the kind of maybe, a data templates or maybe a communication protocol that I'm using. What are the locations for these sensors and, the machines and locations. Now from there, when I go to this application is now saying that, okay, if I have configured this and bringing in this data with these, various communication protocols, what it is giving me is the data it is pulling from my vibration sensors, right? This is like an ECG of a machine. Now for NVH analysis, this is bringing it the vibration. If the vibrations are going beyond certain threshold, it will generate an alarm, right? And then if it is, detecting any anomaly, it will also start probing the heat sensors. Do the correlation analysis, then start reading the audio files and say that, okay, the audio pattern of the machine functioning is also changing. And then it is creating that alert, and using cognitive RPA, it is actually pushing that into an RPA machine and say that this machine is likely to be accident prone in some time. Now understand, during the remote working and lockdowns, maybe you are a pharmaceutical machine, manufacturing company, or you are into a continuous manufacturing or, service industry. How can you handle your remote operations? Now understand, it becomes then absolute necessity, right? Incidentally, in India, what is happening is that whether it is entertainment apps, whether it is food apps, we have gone absolutely digital. But when it comes to agriculture, when it comes to manufacturing, defense, when it comes to, so many core industries, healthcare for that matter, and we still are, at a very superficial level. So countries like us, where low-cost local innovations can come, really disrupt these industries, that is need of hour. And hence, on the Chambers platform, we would also appeal to all of you, how can we, co-innovate, co-create solutions for the global markets? And we certainly look forward to, we already have set up a demo booth here. You are most welcome to visit us and see that what are the various innovations that are possible. There are use cases of image processing and video analytics, but in the interest of time, probably, you can actually visit our booth and see that. I would like to thank Chambers for encouraging startups like us that are made in India to come forward and also share the innovations. We would like to take this opportunity to extend it forward, and then how can we, really create something worthwhile. We call it as a AI for good, and AI in, ethical AI. So certainly look forward. Thank you once again for the opportunity, and have a great evening ahead.
Thank you, Prashant, for this wonderful exposition. Let me now request Purva Chitre and the team from Kohinoor World Towers to make their presentation. Then we move to the last technical presentation, and then we'll have a small bit of interaction. Prashant sir, you want to speak for a minute? That's what she says.
Okay, I think this is just taking some time to open. So good evening, everyone present over here. I am Purva Chitre, and it's a pleasure to make acquaintance with all of you and represent Kohinoor Development Corporation. We have heard the dignitaries speak about technology. Now, if we speak about technology in real estate, how does technology actually help a developer or help a customer when it comes to timely delivery? So because of technology, it has really helped us improve the efficiency of office spaces and the retail units that are available. Smarter and durable structures are again possible because of technology. There were times before 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. If you look at any, I would say, under construction project, it took 3, 4, 5 years for a single project of say 1 lakh square feet, 5 lakh square feet to get completed. However, technology has enabled us to complete our construction in a timely basis. Taking an example of Kohinoor World Towers, which is literally next door from here, a 2-minute walk. We started in the month of July last year. In 15 months, 90% of our construction is already completed, which enables us to give a timely delivery to our investors and end users. Now, speaking more about technology aspect, the Green Building Council has rated us, has given us the gold rating, which is again possible because of technology. We have solar panels installed in our project, which will help you generate electricity for all the common areas. Waste management, sewage treatment plants, and other such technologies have also helped us, improve our impact on the environment and become an environment-friendly project. Speaking about Kohinoor, Kohinoor has a legacy of 39 years. We started as a cement trading company before 39 years, then launched our first construction project in 1989. We also manufactured tissue for Kimberly-Clark. The first multiplex and the first 5-star hotel in PCMC was constructed by Kohinoor, that is the Ginger Hotel for Tata Group. We also constructed 2 of the largest logistic parks for Indospace. We have a vertical in hostels in Pune as well as Mumbai, that is known by Youthville. We at this point in time have delivered 6.5 million square feet and have around 8 million square feet under construction. And despite of all this, we stand as a debt-free company, zero debt, which is really rare when it comes to real estate industry. This has been possible because of our founder and MD, Mr. Krishna Kumar Goyal sir, and both his sons, Mr. Vineet Goyal sir and Mr. Rajesh Goyal sir, who are currently spearheading the organization and building upon the legacy of Kohinoor Group. I present to you Kohinoor World Towers. This is one project that has been making waves in the commercial real estate sector, not just in Pune or Maharashtra, but in India. So we'll just take a couple of seconds so that you have a look at the entire facade of the building. Before 15 months, there was literally nothing, and today you see all 20 floors constructed. There's a small video which will give you a glimpse into our project.
New York has Midtown Manhattan. London has Canary Wharf. Singapore has downtown. Mumbai has BKC. Every big city has its own corporate district. Pune has Pimpri. Pimpri is one of Asia's largest industrial and automobile hubs. Pimpri offers excellent connectivity to all parts of the city. And Pimpri is Pune's very own corporate district. Located alongside the Mumbai-Pune highway is Pune's corporate capital, Kohinoor World Towers. Comprising A-grade grand offices and exquisite retail spaces. Designed by H Architect, Singapore, the stunning elevation will captivate you. Launching 1.8 million square feet of prime commercial space, including future development. A state-of-the-art, well-connected campus for corporates, multinationals, and growing businesses. The Grand Entry Boulevard will welcome you with fountains, pathways, and green vistas. 5 levels of parking, from which 3 levels are dedicated to parking for over 650 cars. A sprawling arrival lobby that's almost half an acre wide and 30 feet high to give you, employees and visitors a grand welcome. With multi-tier security and 15 high-speed elevators for quick access. A choice of large floor plates for entire teams to work together effectively. With a mix of trendy office spaces for corporate front offices and professionals. In a development with high standards of sustainability, where cafeterias serve as social nooks and conversation corners over lunch. Within a campus that's landscaped with manicured greenery. And features 2 levels of retail with a separate entry and exit with exclusive parking for customers. Kohinoor High Street will feature world-class retail brands, letting you shop for a sharp suit or buy a meaningful gift. And celebrate at a success party at the rooftop restaurant. Come, experience world-class work environments at Kohinoor World Towers. This is where the world will be watching you. Kohinoor World Towers.
So if we look at this particular picture, this explains the location of Kohinoor World Tower. It is well connected when it comes to intercity connection as well as multi-city connection. Being located in Pimpri, you have the Mother Teresa Bridge, which gives you access within 15 minutes to Wakad. You're closely located to Chakan, where we have the entire manufacturing and automobile hub of Pune. Driving down to the airport will take you hardly 30 to 35 minutes. Also, Nashik is at a convenient distance from KWT. And as we are located on the old Mumbai-Pune highway, connectivity to Mumbai is also very convenient as compared to any other micro market or pocket of Pune. So KWT is not just the finest place to work or have your office or put in your money for investment, but it is an entire ecosystem that we are delivering. We have a grand rooftop restaurant lounge. The architect of KWT, Mr. Daniel, from Star Architects from Singapore. He has some phenomenal projects in Pune. The first one in India was JW Marriott Pune, which was delivered by him, Express Stars in Mumbai, and a couple of more projects in Pune. Speaking about connectivity, we've already spoken how well connected KWT is. We have A-grade office spaces, flexible floor plates, so the office spaces start from 2,000 square feet and go up to 65,000 square feet of a clear floor plate with a fabulous efficiency level to start your own office. IGBC Gold rating is one of it. Now, if I speak about investment in real estate, any investor would look at 3 major factors. First is capital value appreciation. Fine, today if I'm putting, maybe 1 CR or 2 CR, 1 year, 5 year, 10 years down the line, what is that money going to fetch me? Return on investment, that okay, fine, I've put in my money into something, what is the annual return I'm getting? Because for an investor, what matters is my money multiplying for me? Is it working for me? Is it running for me? And to support both these aspects, what we require is infrastructure. Now, this is a report by Colliers, where they've done a study on various pockets or micro markets of Pune when it comes to current infrastructure and connectivity, and PCMC is ranked 1. Here is a small comparison that we have done of various our own internal projects. wherein if you look at the graph, I will not take much time, we're running short of time today. So just giving you a synopsis of this particular graph. If over here we compare 3 different locations. The orange one is PCMC, the yellow one is Baner, and the green one is Shivajinagar. The highest appreciation from a pre-launch to a delivered project or to current stage has been seen by Pimpri as a location. Within a span of 7 years, there's been a 90% appreciation for properties in Pimpri-Chinchwad. When we compare it to Baner, it has been around 38%, and Shivajinagar is 30%. So that is how Colliers has rightly mentioned that yes, Pimpri is the destination in Pune for your investments. Now, this is a small comparison of appreciation and ROI that we are doing. Kohinoor World Towers being an under construction project. B-Zone Pimpri is one of our own delivered project, which is literally right across the road. Our current quoting price is 10,000 plus, as compared to that of B-Zone Pimpri, a delivered project of 12,000 rupees plus. The differentiating amount over here is 2,000 rupees, that's 20%. So tomorrow when Kohinoor World Towers is a delivered project, that is next year in the month of December, we can look at a bare minimum of 20% appreciation for your money that you invest into us. Now considering a year-on-year appreciation that happens in any asset that you invest into, we're considering a bare minimum of 10% annual appreciation that would happen. That takes you to a 32% of appreciation of your money. So today, in case if you put 100 rupees into my project, which is, an example, you are going to fetch 132 rupees out of it. Now, considering that B-Zone Pimpri, our own project, which is a standalone project, as compared to a complete ecosystem to run your business, which is IGBC gold rated, equipped with modern technology. If we speak about property management also, we have CBRE onboarded with us to support the future functioning of the project. So considering all those aspects, a little more appreciation amount that we are considering. Usually in any project, that differential is around about 25 to 30%, but over here, being a devil's advocate, I've considered only 10%. So today investing into KWT is then after a year going to fetch you an appreciation of 45% and an ROI of more than 8%. That's about Kohinoor World Towers. Sir, I would like to thank you for an opportunity to give a glimpse into our project. Thank you.
We have saved the last one and the best one for the last, as we say. Anirudh Pant, CEO and Director and the founder for Algo Analytics, now will take us to the wonderful world of AI. Over to you, Anirudh.
Okay, I'm not going to take too much time actually because it's already quite late. So I will try and finish in 10 minutes or less because I have to also go. So, yeah. Is that it's not changing over here? Yeah. Oh, but okay, cool. Yeah, so Algo Analytics is a specifically AI machine learning company. We develop solutions across different domains. manufacturing being one of the main areas of interest, and banking financial services is another one. Most of the work which we have done so far actually has been outside India, but I have my family actually has a business in manufacturing, so there has always been a pressure from home to actually do something for Indian manufacturing system, and now it has sort of become my dream to try and develop some solutions specifically for MSMEs in India. And as you can imagine, that's not an easy job because of the price constraints and all that kind of stuff. But we have started, and I'm hoping to get support from MCCIA and all of you guys to be able to develop some solutions which actually can be priced at a price point low enough so that it actually becomes worthwhile for MSMEs to actually adopt AI and machine learning. Again, won't go into this, but essentially anything and everything in AI machine learning, we would have done it before. So across different domains, across different types of business problems, across different types of data, and using different types of algorithmic expertise as well. We are a small company. We are just about 100 people company, but we are a very niche focused on AI ML. So from that perspective, 100 people is a reasonable size, for a data science company. So again, I'll summarize the whole presentation in like 1 or 2 slides over here. Essentially, if you are on a manufacturing floor, then experienced people over there use their eyes and their ears to decide if things are happening correctly or not. And our idea is to see if we can provide that capability to machines. So essentially, that is where computer vision and sound analytics comes into picture. And we do have solutions which essentially look at the things which are happening, and then based on that, make a judgment of whether they are happening correctly or incorrectly, and what, if it is incorrect, then what it is that would be incorrect. Very interestingly, actually, we are probably one of the world's first few companies to work in sound analytics in manufacturing domain. So there are quite a few companies which work in vibration analysis, but sound analytics is a much harder area. We do have a couple of US patents in sound analytics of machines, and that is where we are trying to give the ability of listening to our machines. And in addition to that, the standard sort of tabular data forecasting, sales forecasting, scrap reduction, or managing your inventory and that kind of stuff is something which we have done as well. Text data analytics is something which we do a lot, but we have not seen an opportunity too much in the manufacturing domain for text data analytics. We do that quite a bit in banking financial services. So again, various problems. As I mentioned, these are mostly done for companies outside India and very, very large companies. But my hope is take this all technology and try and sort of miniaturize enough so that it becomes affordable for MSMEs. And these things first I try it out in my home factories, obviously. So this was done for a large automobile tier 1 supplier, global automobile tier 1 supplier. This is something which was done for a factory in Thailand where we were looking at a bottling plant. I think it was Pepsi or Coke, I don't remember, but we were looking at the bottling plant, and what happens is when bottling is happening, sometimes the bottles fall. And if a bottle falls, then the whole sort of the way for the bottles to move ahead, that sometimes get choked up. And that's why it's extremely critical that as soon as a bottle falls and it's not in the upright position, alarm is raised. And we actually build a system to actually understand if a bottle is in improper position, which could actually later choke up the system. Now this is the first solution where we are building it for MSMEs. This is we are trying it out at our home factory. This is in collaboration with Intel, where Sharda Industries is my home, sort of, home sister company, you can say, where we have built a small, conveyor belt, and small parts actually, are being seen by 3 cameras simultaneously, and then we are sort of making a judgment on whether a particular spot weld actually is in the correct place or not, and then depending on whether it is in the correct place or not, it actually puts into one bin or the other bin. So it's a very, very simple system, nothing extremely fancy about it, but if that works and that can work at a pace fast enough, then I think this is something which is affordable for a reasonable size, medium size company, especially if they are manufacturing small parts which can actually be photographed simultaneously from 3 different ways. So this is there in Bhosri. If anybody is interested, we are welcome to actually come and see that setup. This is another sort of product that we have built, in our incubation lab. Again, for manufacturing companies and for medium-sized manufacturing companies, it is out-of-the-box AI-powered video surveillance, which has quite a few facilities in anomaly detection, object detection, and that is something which we are showcasing over here as well. So again, this is something which does not require you to change your current CCTV setup at all. All you need is a standard commodity PC, and we will be able to enable your current CCTV ecosystem and make it smart within couple of hours. So, and again, there is no upfront cost other than the cost of the computer. So, and which could be your spare computer from your premises. And you essentially start getting all these alerts in terms of whether the things are happening correctly or not, whether people are wearing helmets or not, whether the door is open at a time that it should not be open. Any of these, customized alerts you can place in this system, and, it sort of works. And our pricing is very simple. It is, per camera, per month pricing. And right now, for all the leads generated through this particular conference, we are giving 3 months of free trial also. So if you have a small factory, 7 cameras, 8 cameras, 10 cameras, do talk to us. We would love to actually, work with you and install this in your premises. Sound analytics, again, this is something which is proprietary algorithm that we have built, and it is patented as well. Sound analytics is harder to do as compared to visual analytics, because there is a lot of noise, especially in the factory environment, which gets mixed, and then finding that signal from the haystack of the noise becomes difficult. But we have been able to do it successfully for a few situations. So this is again, primarily has been deployed outside India. Japan, we have deployed it for some cutting machines. We are working right now with Intel to characterize the welding process. So as many of you guys would know more better than me, welding is one of the most difficult process to characterize. We are using sound as well as video monitoring to understand if the welding is happening correctly or not. And actually in Sharda Industries, in collaboration with Intel, we are collecting a lot of data where we are characterizing at, okay, if this level of current is there and this level of voltage is there and this level of wire feed is there, then it tends to actually have this kind of a fault and that kind of stuff. So that's sort of an R&D project that we are doing with Intel. But numerical data analytics, again, this is something which can be done with most of the companies. Usually they will be very reluctant to open up the data, but if they are ready to open up the data, then this can actually have immense amount of benefits. And just to give you one example which I have shown over here, as all you manufacturing people usually will have schedules for that month at the beginning of the month from the procuring party, right? And similarly, this company also had that particular schedule. And there is always a gap between what schedule is given and what actually gets procured. And that obviously causes problems if there is a large gap, right? So what we try to do without hoping for a great success is based on the historical data, we would try and do some kind of forecasting using some time series, nonlinear time series techniques. And then we compared with how they were comparing with the schedules which were given by the procuring party. And to our surprise, we found that whatever we were forecasting actually was more accurate than the procurement schedules that were given by the procuring party. Ideally, this should not be the case. That just shows the kind of processes the larger company is running. But I'm sure this is the case in most of the companies. So this is something, if you are willing to do with us, we can do it very quickly. And it can actually lead to a large benefits, because instead of keeping, let's say, 45 days worth of inventory, you can start keeping it worth 30 days worth of inventory. And that can be a large amount of capital that's getting released. This is again was done for a very large company, scrap reduction in optical fiber manufacturing. So what happens in optical fiber manufacturing is there are 7 different stages which it goes through. And many times what happens is like 5th or 6th or 7th stage, you realize that, okay, there has been some fault. And then, the whole process and the whole almost created fiber goes waste. And what the company wanted to do is look at the processes which are happening in the 1st and 2nd stage, and then based on that try and predict whether things are going to go bad eventually or not. And we were able to do a reasonable job with it. And obviously this again saves the manufacturing time, material and cost and all that kind of stuff. So this could be applicable in some of the manufacturing processes also. Again, I don't want to show this. Enough global slides of how much manufacturing billions of dollars are available, has been shown. But I think, I feel it's more important to see what is applicable to MSMEs, because I think that is what this forum is. And I would really love to partner with some of you guys and develop solutions, for you, and then which can be eventually also sold to other MSMEs. And I hope I can work with MCCIA for that further. So I'll stop here. I think, we should open it up for questions and discussions.
Questions welcome. I'm sure you must have been overloaded with a lot of information, and try to suit it to your requirement. But we will take questions, maybe a couple of questions before we wind up. We have Mr. Paranspe and Mr. Pant here, the 2 Ps, and they're both capable of answering practically any question that comes up, but yeah.
It's a wonderful session. My question is, both of you can answer. While implementing this Industry 4.0 for MSME and this one, of course, this Industry 4.0 word is we are hearing now. Yes, it is real time to implement it. But what are the challenges you feel that MSME are to implement Industry 4.0 in MSME? Say MSME like having just 5 machines, 10 machines, 20 machines. What are the real challenges MSME faces, and what should be the countermeasure?
Okay, so I will speak. Maybe it will be a little bit of pessimistic view, and then I will give it to him. I feel Industry 4.0 is a too big a word for MSMEs. I think it should be looked at, first, are your machines digitalized? And if your machines are digitalized, then do you have a budget to buy a couple of computers, or at least a large bandwidth, reliable connection so that you can start using the cloud? And whether, so that's where it is not about the technology, frankly. It is about, the amount of money you have to invest, and whether that money actually gives you an ROI in terms of, the savings or the productivity improvement that you are going to do it or not. 4.0 is definitely useful for large companies. There is no question about it. Now, whether it is useful for small companies and medium-sized companies or not, I think the word is, I mean, in the current form, I think, it's something maybe you can answer.
So the biggest challenge that we have encountered while working with MSMEs, is twofold. One is how well has the problem been defined? That means, there is a business problem that I have. I want to reduce cost, or I want to control inventory, or I want to improve sales. If that is defined well, then you can actually come up with a very crisp solution which is cost effective, easy to implement, scalable, deployable, and which is very effective. Invariably, what tends to happen is that that problem is not defined well, and then we try to club 3-4 problems in one statement and then create a suboptimal solution. So that is one, I would say, area which needs to be looked at. And the second is the cultural aspect of it. Your ability to unlock transparency, your ability to work with a lot of data that is getting generated. How do you manage that with the general culture of that company becomes very, very important. So if these two things are taken care of, in my opinion, there is a lot of opportunity, there's a lot of scope for very cost-effective solutions. So I don't think cost is the challenge there.
May I?
Please, please.
The only problem is culture. Rest are all surmountable. The only problem is culture. The only problem is the man behind that entire system. The machines, the system. It's all a big issue. They do not want to implement. And the reason is very difficult to find. If you can find that, you will overcome all these issues and you have all hardware and software to do it. But it's the man that creates the issue. Because a proper culture has not been set in the small industry. And it's still the jugaad that is, they want to hide their inefficiencies, and what all this gets out is a clarity on the data, and then you see the mess. So that's what they want to hide, and hence what they do not allow to happen is exactly what you get. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I'm glad that MCCI is doing great effort to bring this change, cultural change, bring MSCBs. Thank you.
It's extremely difficult to bring this cultural change. It doesn't happen in my unit, so I cannot profess.
No, but at least we are trying it. Of course, everything is need to evolve, and this is a start. And once it is start, definitely it will be some.
We will take it to the best level in 24 months that we have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, this question is maybe for Mr. Pant. Can you give a ballpark idea what would be the cost for the sales forecasting package, or this 3-camera video surveillance system? A very general ballpark, so that the MSMEs know that where do they stand and how they can go about it. Thank you.
So the small sort of setup I showed, right? For that, end-to-end, I would say the cost would be about 7 to 10 lakh rupees. Okay. And for the sales forecasting stuff, right, depending on what shape your data is in. If your data is in very, very clean form, then we can build it like really low cost. I mean, like, 50,000, 1 lakh rupees, that kind of stuff. But it has to be in a really, really good shape. I mean, like, you can't give us papers, handwritten papers, and say, okay, use this data and build a forecasting system, right? So if you already have a, ERP system or something like that, which actually, generates those sheets, it can be done in a very, very quick sort of a manner, and, it can be.
I'm not pessimist, but you know what he's saying? Aniruddha is trying to say, build a 5-star hotel in Dharavi and I'll come there. That's not possible. I mean, all data is yes, it needs to be in a neat format, and that is actually your input, and then you can, but data never gets generated that way, and it is always fudged.
Then you can just just multiply the cost by 10 times, essentially. So, because, I mean, for example, if you are generating handwritten sheets, right? I mean, I will have to build an OCR system on top of it to actually read that. And that itself will take few months of time to actually, start reading that kind of stuff. So actually cleaning the data and getting it into a format which can be used, right? That is the 80-90% of the work. Once you have that data, actually, building a quick, good model is not that difficult. And this model, by the way, even though if it's quick and good, it will be better than most of the, SAP models which will be available for you. So, because SAP models actually will be worse than what stuff we will be able to build for you, for sure. So.
But you know what will be thrilling, to answer your question? You know what will be thrilling? You must try out a few of these experiments in your own unit. And when you see the success, you will run after MCCIA to get this done and implement more and more of solutions provided by either one of these solution providers. So all the best to everyone. Thank you. Good night. Thanks for attending. It was a great session.
A gentle reminder for all of you, the exhibition is still open tomorrow, and we have a couple of sessions, one on schemes of CDB and one on MSME DFO session on the select schemes for MSMEs tomorrow. So back-to-back sessions, 11 o'clock and 12 noon tomorrow morning, and the exhibition is open from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. tomorrow as well. Thank you so much.